Hi everybody, David Paul with you in the KHOU 11 weather based out of Houston, Texas. It is Monday evening, September the 18th. This is your tropical update. Hurricane Fiona is beginning to crank. This thing may become a major hurricane pretty soon, the first of the season. And there's another wave that may enter the Caribbean Sea. Models are picking up on this. It's one we'll have to watch very carefully over the coming days. Just to set your bearings, we've had Alex, Bonnie, Colin, Danielle was our first hurricane. Earl, and now Fiona is Cat 2, but it is in a position to where it may be able to rapidly intensify to Cat 3 or Cat 4, and the Hurricane Center agrees with that. And then this next wave, Gaston is the next name on the list, and that one has my ears perked up. We'll look at it carefully here in just a second. If we do get a major hurricane, Cat 3 or above, it'll be the first of the season. Major hurricanes, we had NOAA forecasting about 4, and Colorado State forecasting about 4. That's as of their updated forecast August the 4th. And so this will be the first of the season if it does attain Category 3 or above status. This is Fiona going into 7 o'clock on this Monday evening. Winds have increased now to 105 miles an hour in Fiona. That's up from 100 miles an hour as of the 4 o'clock advisory. It's moving northwest at 10. Pressures at 974 millibars. That has not dropped a whole lot today, but enough to get it to intensify. And you can see we had a couple things happen. First of all, the eye became very clear today, and now notice how the eye is shrinking. So that quite often is a sign of intensification, also a sign of a potential eye wall replacement cycle. These eye wall replacement cycles are a process that storms go through as they are intensifying, and I think that's what we're seeing. Although the CDO, Central Dense Overcast, is now lopsided to the southwest side, it may be encountering just a little bit of shear, but there's certainly plenty of warm water out there, and the storm looks like it is about to intensify as we head through the overnight. By tomorrow morning, it may be Cat 3. Here's the path that took through the Northern Islands, clipping the western edge of Puerto Rico. That was bad for Puerto Rico because that put Puerto Rico on the dirty side of this system, and they just had a tremendous amount of rain, and the flooding is terrible across Puerto Rico. Moved across the east side of the island of Hispaniola, and now moving back over open water. And folks in the Turks and Caicos will have to face the western edge of Fiona here over the next several hours. Rainfall across Puerto Rico, 20 to 30 inches of rain. They were on that strong side, the wet side of the storm, and it's still dragging moisture up across the island nation there. And we can see now as we get closer to Cockburn Town, this is going to be tomorrow morning. You guys will face the western side, the weaker side of what may be a major hurricane at that point. And I say that because not only are we in an area where there's only very little shear, but the sea surface temperatures are so warm. There's just a tremendous amount of energy here for the storm to feed off of. 87-degree water near Cockburn Town, 86-degree water here, 86-degree water here. You only need to have 80-degree water to get a storm going, and so there's plenty of energy for Fiona to feed off of. Why so much rain in Puerto Rico? You know, of course, a tropical system has the potential to drop a tremendous amount of rain, but in Puerto Rico, you've got mountains there that go up to above 3,000 feet, almost to 4,000 feet. And because of that, you had what's called orographic lifting as those bands, feeder bands came up across the island. They ride up the face of the mountains, and as it's forced to rise, it cools, condenses, and it enhances the rainfall. And that's another reason why, not just because of the tropical moisture, but the simple topography of Puerto Rico that enhances rain. And so 20, 30, maybe even more than 30 inches before it's all said and done here, as they'll get more rain over the next several hours. Here's a closer look at the forecast from the Hurricane Center as the storm moves by Turks and Caicos. You can see we've got hurricane warnings up for the eastern edge of the Turks and Caicos. This is going to go by as a Cat 3 tomorrow morning, and then it continues into the open Atlantic as we head into the middle of Tuesday afternoon and going into Wednesday morning. Now, heads up Bermuda. This storm is going to race by you as a Cat 3. It looks like you may be on the strong side, the east side to motion of that Cat 3, the right-hand side to motion, and that may bring significant storm impacts to Bermuda. We'll take a closer look at Bermuda in just a moment. That's going as we head into the middle of the week. And then as we get into the weekend, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, you're looking at least Cat 1 conditions as the system races up into the North Atlantic, and you may very likely by Saturday, even before Saturday, have conditions here that are at Cat 1 hurricane force, especially near the coast and the southern facing shore of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, and maybe even stronger than that. Again, we're going to look carefully at a wind forecast for you guys in a moment, but you can see how this misses the entire east coast of the United States. Okay, so why is it going to race off to the north and east? It has everything to do with the upper level winds. Notice a little trough beginning to dig here off the Virginias and through Pennsylvania. A little trough, not much. There's the storm. There's Fiona, that little orange dot. Watch how the dot races north as it is grabbed by that trough, which deepens, sharpens, and literally these troughs grab and pull these things off to the north and northeast. And quite often at this point, a storm will be slung out to sea, but not in this case. What's going to happen is this is going to bend back into Nova Scotia and Newfoundland as the upper level winds bend back on themselves. That's called a negatively tilted trough. When you get a negative tilt right in here, you'll get quite often the upper level winds divergent. They'll spread. That will enhance rain and also strengthen surface winds. And so Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, heavy wind and rain. Gusts to 90 miles an hour or above are likely in many spots here as we head into Friday night and Saturday morning as that storm is pulled back by that kink in the upper level winds toward Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. And then after that, as we head into Monday and Monday evening, this begins to wind down east of Hudson Bay, but look at the snow that it is going to bring to Greenland. Okay, closer look at the wind forecast. Cockburntown, Turks and Caicos, Cat 1 conditions likely for you as we head into tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Those are winds of 74 to 95 miles an hour. Then the storm continues to strengthen, races through the Atlantic, and then it's Bermuda. Bermuda, we're concerned that you may have Cat 3 wind conditions as we head into Friday morning. So Thursday night, Friday morning of this week. Have everything battened down before we get into the end of the week, as you may take a significant impact from the strong side of a Category 3, maybe Category 4 hurricane. There's the center, and the strongest winds, the right-hand side to motion, would be near St. George and Bermuda. That's going into Thursday night and Friday. Then again, it races north and then back to the northwest as it's pulled back by those upper level winds. And so still Category 1, wide area of Category 2, especially on the right-hand side of the center. St. Pierre, St. Albans, St. John's, Paradise. Watch how this continues in as we head into Saturday during the day. So Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday during the day, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, significant Category 1 hurricane impacts for you and all the interior islands here across the North Atlantic. So those are all the players on the playing field. That's Fiona. We've got another spot on the open Atlantic with a 40% chance for development. This one looks like it may develop, but it also looks like a fish storm. It is this spot in the Atlantic that is headed toward the Caribbean that kind of has our ears perked up again. Although there's not much to this wave right now, and it's just sitting at a 20% chance for development for now, as we get into the Wednesday, Thursday time frame, conditions in this part of the Caribbean are going to become much more favorable for potential development. And a storm that gets into this part of the Caribbean has the good chance to impact a lot of people across the Caribbean, the Bahamas, and potentially North America. So here is on infrared as we're looking at Monday evening, and it's a disorganized tropical wave. There's not much going on with it right now. There's some wind shear aloft, so it's kind of tearing it apart a little bit right now. But notice how over the Caribbean Sea you've got this upper level ridge, so that's much more conducive to development. That's what Fiona was sitting under and why she exploded in intensity over the past 24 hours, sitting underneath this ridge of high pressure. These are the upper level winds. So once we can get this wave into the East Carib, we might see it begin to strengthen. Let's take a look at the computer models. The GFS, the American model in yellow, the Euro in red. And as we look at this on Monday evening, there's Fiona. We know where she's going. This is our tropical wave. Now watch as I put this into motion. Get into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and both models close off a low. The American model a little bit more intense than the European model, but both close off lows. Let's see where they want to take it, and it's across the Caribbean. This one potentially would be on a more southerly track. So this is what the models are suggesting we might be looking at as we go into Monday of next week, so a week out, 7 days out. Now the Hurricane Center goes out 5 days. This is a 7-day forecast, so after this there would just be a tremendous amount of uncertainty. But if a storm were to develop and get into this position in the Western Caribbean, you can see how a large portion of the Gulf of Mexico would be in play. Now that's a big if it verifies. It's something we'll be watching very carefully. Again, as for now, it's just a tropical wave, but this is what we will be watching all week long for the potential for development. I'll read your comments, leave your questions on social. We'll keep you posted, and until next time, stay safe and stay weather smart.